Well, I think there's a lot of views about the future of libraries, and that's partially a reflection of, there are a lot of forces that affect what's going to happen to libraries. There's economic forces, technological forces, social and political forces, information resources kind of forces. There's all kinds of things that are going to help to shape what libraries are and what they ought to be, not to mention our own vision of our profession and our institutions and so on. And of course, there's a lot of different kinds of libraries. So there's a lot of diversity in that area, and I think that's necessarily a good thing. What I think, though, a lot of that points to is what is the role of an institution that everybody thinks they know, everybody thinks they understand, in a world that is not only changing really fast, but has also changed fairly substantially, where the physical object is less important than it used to be, not unimportant, but less important than it used to be. The idea of having to go to a physical place to get a physical object is only a piece of the puzzle now, as in addition to going to a virtual place to get a virtual object, or but then there are a lot of virtual places people can get those virtual objects, and how does that all work? And the nature of the marketplace for those cultural materials is changing as well. So thinking about how libraries occupy a similar place in the public mindset, and I mean public in the sense of a community or clientele for any different kind of library, how we continue to occupy those kinds of places, how we explore what new places we can occupy as venues for creation. How do libraries continue to articulate for their role as venues of creation in addition to repositories of creation? How do we continue to position ourselves as community meeting spaces? How do we continue to position ourselves as a safe and trusted place? How do we, that kind of cluster of things, fighting for intellectual freedom, fighting for quality and depth, fighting for intellectual property, fighting for the kinds of things that very few other institutions and entities in contemporary society fight for. How do we occupy that kind of space in people's minds? How do we articulate what additional things we can be? And then how do we feed that back into the profession so that we're actually able to come across and do those things? So we are able to be the venue of creation. We are able to be a safe community meeting place. We are able to be protectors of people's privacy and intellectual freedom and so on. And so there's lots of ways in which libraries can kind of ooze into those spaces so that they continue to thrive and be vital in a society that's going to continue to change at a very rapid pace, and we have to just live in that world.